Earlier today, I seen a video of a Gen X woman complaining that there ain't no good men out here. She divorced her husband, and now she regrets that shit. Let me be the first to let you all know, grass ain't greener on the other side. The trenches are
the only one seeing these videos of these middle-aged white women crying on the internet after they forcefully divorced their husband. The husband, it came out of left field for him. She's like, I need to find myself. I gave up so much to love you and da-da-da-da. He ain't cheat or nothing. She just over the relationship. And then
why are men so beholden? Why are men working overtime? Working overtime to get women to be afraid to leave men, right? Why is that? It's pretty wild.
Earlier today, I seen a video of a Gen X woman complaining that there ain't no good men out here. She divorced her husband, and now she regrets that shit. Let me be the first to let you all know, grass ain't greener on the other side. The trenches out here, exactly that. Fucking trenches. Ain't nobody better than your husband. If you think you about to divorce your husband of 20 years at 40, 45, 50 years old, and you go out thinking that you gonna find somebody your age that is better, or you got another reality coming. Ain't no man your age trying to get booed up because he might have did a little something. But the most common thing is, oh, he was abusive. He was an alcoholic. Girl, shut the fuck up. What, he was an alcoholic for 20 years? You decided to stay with him?
Listen to that shit. What?
45, 50 years old, and you go out thinking that you gonna find somebody your age that is better, or you got another reality coming?
Hold on real quick. So let me get this straight. The man she's married to that's her age. But hold on. Let me get this straight. The man she's married to that is her age is better than the men that are available, right? That are her age. I'm really a few questions. Why? Why? Are all men the same? And if all men are the same, then why would she stay with this man? Because what's special about him? If she could leave this man and find another man, or not find a man at all and not be with anybody, because more than likely she's perfectly okay being single, why would she stay with this abusive man? That doesn't, I don't, you're cooking your own point. You're like, all these men is trash, so you might as well stay with that trash ass nigga you got. So you're just admitting that all men are trash? All right. Your words, not mine.
Ain't no man your age trying to get booed up because he might have did a little something. But the most common thing is, oh, he was abusive. He was an alcoholic. Girl, shut the fuck up. What?
That's what? Why shut the fuck up? She's telling you that she got abused, and you like, what?
He was an alcoholic for 20 years. You decided to stay with him? If you don't stop that goddamn line, you cannot divorce your husband because that 20% intolerant.
Hold on. Wait. I'm sorry, y'all. This shit, do these niggas be listening to these videos again?
What, he was an alcoholic for 20 years? You decided to stay with him? If you don't stop that goddamn line, you cannot divorce your husband because that 20% intolerable.
So she stayed with him even though he was an alcoholic. Then she she wants to leave him now, maybe because of the kids and all of that stuff. And you're saying that she's lying about him being an alcoholic? What the fuck?
Because it ain't shit out here. Whatever shit your husband going through that you might not like, you better sticking it out with him on that situation than actually coming out here in the trenches. Stop listening to these motherfucking social media influencers.
You mean like you? You right. They definitely should stop listening to you if they ever did.
Than actually coming out here in the trenches. Stop listening to these motherfucking social media influencers. Motherfuckers that ain't been in a relationship longer than 5 years. Do not get to divorce your husband.
I've been in a relationship for 18 years. Everything this dude is saying is ass.
Husband, then get on social platforms and say all words all the good men at. Thinking that you about to find fucking Moses don't exist. Because I'm going to tell you right now, any man that ages between 30 and 50 that just got recently divorced ain't trying to go through the bullshit. No, you all have to stop divorcing your husband.
Not true. Nothing he's saying is true.
To make yourself happy.
Men get remarried faster and more often than women.
That's not how marriage works. You go back to our grandpappies and grandmammies. The reason they marriage worked, significant other happiness was more important than their happiness. Don't get on TikTok crying and shit. I'm 50 years old and I'm single and yeah, you're gonna be single for the rest of your goddamn life. What the fuck you talking about? Unless you're willing to massively downgrade at 50 years old, it's over.
That was crazy. I don't think he made a lick of sense.
I know I can't be the only one seeing these videos of these middle-aged white women crying on the internet after they like forcefully divorced their husband. Like the husband, it came out of left field for him. She's like, I need to find myself. I gave up so much to love.
It always comes out of left field for the husband. But it really doesn't, just so you know, it never came out of left field. He know exactly why that lady leaving him.
You and da 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 da. Like he ain't cheat or nothing. Like she just over the relationship. And then, bro, here be the craziest part. She'll hop back on the internet crying like dating is hard. And I saw one yesterday that was like she was dating a guy for 6 weeks heavy, and he realized, and they like mutually agreed that this relationship wasn't good for them, but she had so much fun, so she was crying. I watched another one where a lady, these are all middle-aged white ladies, where she was like, I initiated the divorce, but now he's doing good and I feel terrible. And there was another one where again he didn't cheat or anything. She just felt like she deserved better and she divorced him.
It's crazy that the only thing these dudes think that would constitute a divorce is cheating. Well, John said that. The other dude, when the woman said that he was an alcoholic and he was abusive, he downplayed that too. So it's only cheating. And then even then these niggas will excuse cheating.
And he gave her the house, but you know, when you give someone the house in the divorce, they have to start paying for it. She didn't get the alimony or child support that she thought she would. She was trying to figure out how she was going to pay for the house and all that. People don't know, like usually in divorce, if you do it the correct way, the man can not have responsibility for the house but give it to her, even if it has a lot of equity, which is the part that hits men in the chest. Like, damn, I've been paying on this house for fucking 15 years. I got $250,000 of equity. But the thing that the wife runs into is paying the mortgage if she doesn't have a job. But in this case, she was like trying to struggle to figure out how to pay the mortgage, and he gave it up. She didn't want to sell it, so she was all emotional. And then long story short, like he pulled up in a new truck or some shit, and she was breaking down like, how dare you buy a new truck instead of helping me keep this house? And then in the end, they're all like crying on camera, wishing it.
Yeah, she's right. She's right. I don't know how old. Is she middle age? Are the kids still with her? I don't know. But I don't think y'all like, it's just crazy how you guys think that he really is trying to make this case that these women are just up and leaving these men for no reason, right? But common sense, stats, all the data, we know women are leaving because of, typically extreme behaviors exhibited by men. Don't got to be cheating. Neglect. Weaponized incompetence, abusive, nagging, never taking any initiative, never paying attention to her, offering little to no help, not satisfying her sexually, not showing up for her emotionally. All these things are terrible. Cheating is bad. Beating is bad as well. But all of those other things are fucking terrible. Terrible. And that's what most of these women are going through. But the way that men don't we just refuse to acknowledge that these things matter is crazy to me. Wicked.
Never got a divorce. Bro, if I were one of y'all, I would just, I swear to God, I got too much pride. I would never admit that. I've made that big of a mistake. I would just shut up. I would just suffer in silence. What are you looking for when you get online saying that? I made the biggest mistake of my life. I did X, Y, and Z because I felt like I deserved better. No man is giving me better. Now my life is falling apart. I want my old marriage back. Baby, you gotta keep that in the DMs. You gotta go beg him privately. What the fuck is this? I'm really here for y'all. Stop doing that. You look crazy.
I'm here for y'all. It's wicked. Gaslight like a motherfucker. You ain't here for them. when I listen to men talk about it in that way, like I said, it's just a lack of understanding, lack of compassion, lack of empathy, all those things. We just don't, y'all just don't get it. You don't understand. You don't want to listen to what women are really saying, and that's why we end up getting left. I don't care what happens for the most part. Like, I mean, beyond like abusing my kids or something like that, I will always financially take care of my wife. I don't care if she leaves me tomorrow. I don't care if she just woke up one day and didn't like it, whatever. I'm gonna still financially support her. I'll keep my life, you know, I'll live in an apartment, you know what I'm saying? Like, just make sure I could have my kids, you know, over or whatever, make sure I got enough room for them. I'm not gonna live in some one bedroom apartment, but you know, I'll live in an apartment, I'll live in a condo, I'll live a modest, reasonable life, and I'll still financially support my wife, my ex-wife, quote unquote. Like, I don't care. Because I'm not an idiot and I'm not vindictive, and I know that my wife, I know all the effort and energy and time and patience and all of that stuff she's put in this relationship. So if it ends, I'm not gonna blame her. When I was the one that constantly let her down, when I was the one that constantly disappointed her, which most men do, I'm not gonna sit here and act like it came out of left field. I'm not. Y'all hate accountability. I swear to God.
Divorce the most, but they're also the ones that are hit the most financially.
Hold on.
Women are the ones who initiate divorce the most, but they're also the ones that are hit the most financially. This is another thing I found fascinating, right? Yes. Women's household income falls by 41%. Wow. Right? Average, following a divorce or separation. So does that mean we just shouldn't get divorced until after 50? Like, are we just safer if we wait till then?
Well, there is a huge financial impact on divorce, and that's one of the things people really need to take a look at if they're thinking about divorce. You know, how are they going to support themselves, especially if they are women who there's less either joint income or less personal income. And sometimes that is the reason that women wait until midlife to get divorced, because they're also waiting until they're financially on their feet again. But yeah. Even though they're financially not as well off, there is a ton of research that shows that women tend to be much happier than men when they get divorced. And they're oftentimes, there's like a 75% of women do not regret their decision.
Women.
And you can read it right there. It says 70% of women report having no regret over their divorce compared to 61% of men. This is despite studies showing that a woman's household income falls by 41% on average following a divorce. 73% of women report having no regret over their divorce. 61% of men report having regret over their divorce, right? So let's talk about that real quick. The men, if you look at this video again, I'm not gonna show the video, but let's look at it. What does it say at the bottom? Women regret divorce. So this is what I be saying. They just be up here lying. They just be up here lying. And what they do is they find clips on YouTube and TikTok or whatever the fuck that, you know, of women like crashing out, and they go, oh, see, these women really just be like, and that's like, when I was researching, like looking up stuff for this video, when I was searching stuff, I never looked up like why women don't regret getting or like women regret getting divorced or like anything like that, right? But it kept popping up like a bunch of the videos were women regret getting divorced, women regret getting divorced. Those videos are extremely popular for a reason. There's mostly men consuming that shit, watching it, going, see, told you so. It's just a bunch of men trying to fearmonger women into staying in the toxic and unhealthy relationships. Like that man said, oh, so he was drunk, he was a drunk and an abuser for 20 years. Bullshit. You stayed with him for 20. What? Ain't nobody better. Even if he was an abuser, ain't nobody better than him. All these men are abusive. Like, what the fuck? And then, like that other video that we just watched, the woman was saying, in spite of women losing 40% of their income, they're still like, nah, no regrets. Listen to what I'm telling y'all. Listen. 73% of women report having no regret over their divorce, compared to 61% of men. This is by a study showing that a woman's household income falls by 41% on average. So what that tells me is that if it weren't for the money, 100% of women would never regret. 100% of women wouldn't regret getting divorced. Dude, right? Hey, fuck it. I'll leave the door open. 99.9% of women wouldn't regret getting divorced. 99 point. If it didn't have anything to do with the money, 99.9% of women wouldn't regret getting divorced. I think that plays a huge part in the regret, because it's so hard sometimes, right? So you got to give it at least 15%. It's money we're talking about. Money? Oh yeah, absolutely. At least 15 point swing. You're talking high 80s now. High 80s. If we had it, this is what I'm saying. If America instituted a UBI for divorced people, right? You get divorced, you get $1,500 a month or whatever, some supplemental income. Easily 80, 90%, 85, 90% of women would be like, nah, this is good. I'm happy here. I'm way happier. Way happier. That's just the reality, man.
I make videos here on TikTok warning women about marriage because, quite frankly, nobody warned me at all. No woman in my life ever warned me. And looking back now, I can't blame them. Most of them were brainwashed and even maybe lying to themselves that they were happy. But those women that weren't happy, or that knew that it was just going to even be rocky, they just never spoke up. In fact, I was shocked when my best friend was getting married, and her mom wasn't in her life, but her husband's mom, because she had a baby with the man she was going to marry, her husband's mom, her mother-in-law, said, make sure you always have your own separate bank account. And I remember being shocked. Like, why would she tell her? She's not even her mom. Because women need to get each other's backs, and that's what she did for her. I mean, I scoured my brain trying to think about it. Did anybody? Actually, one lady did warn me on my bachelorette party. I was walking into a restaurant with a group of girls, and I maybe had something that said that I was going to be bride-to-be or something, and she said, don't do it. And I said, that's not a good sign.
Reconsider.
That's the only woman that warned me. Now, my friends, my bridesmaids, things like that, they were just as delusional as me. Like, oh, you're getting married? I'm getting married too. You'd go to weddings. You'd have older people approach you, say, hey, when are you getting married? That's kind of weird. It's like saying, hey, when are you going to be an accountant? Do you know I'm even studying? That's a good fit for me, that I'm mentally prepared for that. Like, it's a bit of a rude question, but we do it. And when my marriage was falling apart, and I'm guessing the rumors were starting to go around in my ex-husband's family, I went to a bridal party because his brother was getting married, and I just wanted to stay calm, and I was supposed to be in the wedding, so I went to the bridal party, and I was sitting next to some older women, and one lady was like, when I got married and things were getting kind of rough, my dad just told me to lay in the bed that I made, and she stayed with her husband, and I saw how her husband treated her.
See? That's what the men always say to the women. Oh, he's abusive? Whatever. You chose him. Choose better.
And I didn't say anything at the time. But if it was now, it would be a little bit different. But I just, that was the last time I saw any of them. So I love what's happening here on TikTok. I love that we're talking and we're telling the truth. I know it hurts. And even people who may see this video, I'm not naming names, but the truth has to be told. And I made mistakes. I was too young. I didn't know any better. I was brainwashed. A lot of people just are brainwashed. Sometimes marriages work out, but at least tell the truth about how hard it is and about how you shouldn't jump into anything when you're not financially or mentally or emotionally ready. Not one damn woman warns me.
Yeah.
Actually, I was told the exact opposite, that it was going to be the greatest thing I've ever accomplished in my life, and it turned out to be the worst thing I've ever accomplished in my life.
Who'd you talk to? Harrison Buckner?
My biggest regret. That's not an accomplishment. Getting married is not an accomplishment.
Her biggest regret was getting married, not getting divorced. Her biggest regret was getting married. So you hear all the women, you hear what the women are saying, you hear what the men are saying. We really need to, you know, let's get a little bit better perspective of what women go through, right? Or just not what they go through, but just what they're saying about their marriages. This is a 103-year-old woman is what she had to say about her marriage.
If you had to give your younger self any advice, what would it be?
Obey my mother. I finished high school at 16, and she had planned to send me from Fort Worth back to Marshall, Texas, to Wiley College, because I would have been the first grandchild of her 18 sisters and brothers to go to college. But I got married. Oh, she was so disappointed. And it took me 4 years and 4 babies to realize I was going to have to raise my husband too. So I cut my losses. I went home to my mother. And do you know, I had nerve enough to say, I'm ready to go to college now. And she says, I got no money to send you to nobody's college.
Ooh. These are the boomers. These are the people.
Boomers? 103? That ain't no boomer.
People who are the parents of the older millennials. These men come out and they...
Nah, these are the parents of the boomers, but whatever. I hear the point. The point's the point. It doesn't matter what generation they are.
Talk about how, oh, there were so much more marriages. I've been studying marriage trends and how it's on a downturn and has been on a decline since the silent generation. The silent generation were before the boomers. The boomers were before Generation X, and then we have the millennials. The boomers are the ones who gave birth to the older millennials. They try to make it seem as if our grandmothers were so damn happy, the women that came before us, that the reason why marriages lasted so much longer is because people were happier then. No. And this is part of the reason that there's so
they were trapped.
Many men right now who are making a push to talk about trying to go back to the times of the 1950s and taking women's rights away.
We need to regain control of women again, the way it used to be in the 1950s.
Because they know that when women are able to choose, they choose differently. When women are able to work, control their fertility or contraceptives to stop themselves from becoming impregnated. This is part of the reason that they're creating all of these laws right now to try to force births onto women, because societies across the world, Japan doesn't even know if it's going to be a country in another 150 years, because women are giving birth to so few babies, because when they were able to make the choice, even women that they're talking about, the Asian women are so submissive, and you know, that gomenasai and the whole geisha mindset that so many people think that Japanese women are supposedly supposed to be in nowadays. Even they are opting out of marriage. They're opting out of even cohabitating or having children. They're like, listen, there was a study that was done that single child-free women are the happiest women in society. Why is that? Psychology Today had that article that went viral, that there's a growing number of single, lonely men. Why is that? Why is it that men are not investing in themselves, making themselves suitable mates?
Because for the last 10,000 years, men have been controlling and dictating everything that women do, right? Like if we can control 100% of what women do, right? Like let's say that's the number. Sorry, it's 100%. That's the most. For the last 100 years, well, up until the last 100 years, men have been 95% in control of what women do. Right? The last 50 years, men have been 75% in control of what women can do. In the last 20 years, men have been 65% in control of what women do. I'm sorry. About it dropped significantly. About 35% of what women do. 35, maybe 40%. That's it. That's all men can control compared to, 100% what it's been. But it just started to happen within the last 20 years. And it jumped quick. It went, you know what I'm saying? Like the amount of control that women have over their own lives went from 100, went from 0 to 60 as the song said, 0 to 60 in, you know, a few short decades, right? 60, 70 decades. Like women just have so much more control over their lives. Men still have control over a lot of important things in their lives, but women can women can get by now without men, right? Like women can get by now. And I'm not saying like women aren't thriving too. There aren't women that are thriving. I'm saying like, you know, most women can get by without me. The vast majority of women can get by without me. That's all it takes. Just women just being able to get by without men is enough to keep women far the fuck away from men, because men are so fucking trash and so uninterested in being the best versions of ourselves. It doesn't make any goddamn sense for a woman to get into a relationship with a man, let alone a marriage, especially not having kids.
What advice would you give your younger self?
To never marry. To never marry. I think that I could have done all the things that I have done without a man. When my 2 husbands and my father all died within 3 months. And I found myself Betty, because I was no longer Betty Charbonnet, no longer Betty Reed. I was no longer defined by someone else's name.
What advice would you give your younger self?
And peep these comments. This is dangerous, shaking my damn head. How your father and 2 husbands died within 3 months? Am I the only one paying attention? Bitter ungratefulness. Absolutely ungrateful. She talking about what she would do. We get too deep into things. This causes us to create unnecessary thoughts. She has the right to reflect on herself. Hold on. Old and goofy. Words of foolishness. Ridiculous. This is awful. Constantly promoting separatism. Now the men are mad. Men are always mad when women start clocking us on our shit. Now all of a sudden, oh, I can't believe you guys don't want to be with us. Oh my God, you guys are so unhealthy and so unhealed. Who hurt you? We did it. It was us. Sorry to tell you, brothers. So when it's all said and done, when I reflect on all of this stuff, what I want to convey to men is, don't dilute yourself. Don't dilute yourself, right? You don't listen to these fucking idiots on the internet telling you that women regret being married, or sorry, they regret getting divorced, because you would think that your woman is less likely to leave you. You start really buying into this idea that there's no other man available out there better than you. You're barbecued. You start thinking that your woman is interested in another man as opposed to just being happy and content. You're barbecued. You're cooked. You're done. Right? You got to know what her intentions are. Most of the time, the woman's intentions isn't to leave you to go get with another fucking man. Women remarry less than men remarry. Women remarry. They take longer to remarry when they do as well. Men get remarried quickly. Men are dependent on women. Men regret getting divorced more than women. Men unalive themselves more when they get divorced from women, or when they get divorced, period. Not like whether they did it or not, whatever, whether they filed or not, right? That, do not let these people online delude you. They are lying to you. You can fight it all you want, or you can accept reality. And the reality is, as long as women have an option that is better than you, and I'll repeat, as long as women have an option or options that are better than you, safer than you, more fulfilling than you, and as long as she has the right to pick those and choose those options, you must understand you must understand what that means for you and your relationship. You must understand that that means, because you should be on your best behavior no matter what. So I don't want to say you should be on your best behavior, but I'm just saying you must understand that having this idea that she can't find better or she won't find better or what's she gonna do with it. 41% of the time, the majority of the time, on average, 41% of on average, women lose 41% of their finances or financial security when they get divorced. That should tell you everything you need to know. The money ain't gonna keep her, family. The money ain't gonna keep her there. Even if you making good money, even if you making $120,000, $130,000, $100,000, $140,000, that's not gonna keep her there. Which flies in the face of that whole idea that women are gold diggers and all they want is a man to buy them a bunch of shit and yada, 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 yada. They're leaving even when it financially impacts them significantly. They're still leaving. Men still out here talking about, I'll lose half my shit. You don't. You don't. She loses more than you. She loses more than you in a divorce. But yet she's still willing to get divorced, which should tell you everything you need to know about divorce. That's what I want y'all to know. And if you think for 1 second these women before they get divorced aren't looking up this information, you're a fucking dummy. They're looking all of this stuff up. Most women are researching this. People, the vast majority of people go online and look up the type of car they want to buy. You think women ain't looking up divorces and what happens after women get divorced? You think they're blindsided by this shit? They're not. So if that woman chooses to get divorced and she's going through with it, you must know she means business. And there ain't enough fear mongering on the earth that's going to get that woman to come back to you. It's too late.